Who is the father of economics? Adam Smith. When was Adam Smith's major work, An Inquiry into the Nature and Causes of Wealth of Nations, published? 1776. The classical economists defined economics as science of wealth. What are the two broad branches of economics? Microeconomics and macroeconomics. Which type of economics is the study of behavior of individual? Microeconomics. In which type of economics we study the economy as whole by focusing our attention on aggregate measure? Macroeconomics. The relation between the consumer's optimal choice of the quantity of goods and its price is called demand function. The branch of economics concerned with the use of statistical methods to obtain empirical results for economic relations is known as econometrics. Wage fund theory was propounded by J. S. Mill, who authored the books The General Theory of Employment and Interest and Money. Professor J. M. Keynes, the economist who believed that unemployment is impossible and that market mechanism has a built-in regulatory system to meet any ups and downs. J. B. Say. The concept of consumer surplus was introduced in economics by Professor Marshall, who put forward the theory of social dualism. J. H. Bouquet, who is the author of the book The Theory of Public Finance. R. A. Musgrave, who wrote an introduction to positive economics. R. G. Lipsey. The growth definition of economics was introduced by J. N. Keynes and P. A. Samuelson. The relationship between the rate of interest and level of consumption was first visualized by Irving Fisher. Gresham's law is true where both paper and metal currencies operates. Cash balance approach was given by Cambridge University professors. The Communist Manifesto, written jointly by Marx and Engels, was published in 1848. In which year was the first volume of Das Kapital by Karl Marx published? 1867. The Critique of Political Economy, the first fruits of Karl Marx's long painstaking research at the British Museum, appeared in 1859. The law of diminishing marginal utility was developed by Hermann Gaussen. The principle of maximum social advantage is associated with Dalton. The purchasing power parity theory came into prominence in 1916 through the writings of Gustav Cassel. The big push strategy of development was first advocated by Paul N. Rosenstein and Rodin. Quantity theory of money was explained by Irving Fisher. According to Levy's model, the dual economy grows only when modern manufacturing sector is labor-intensive. The Harrod-Domer growth model suggests that growth is directly related to savings and the capital output ratio. The essay on the principle of population was written by Thomas Robert Malthus. The Keynesian remedy for unemployment is to increase government spending. Who defined the vicious cycle of poverty? Ragnar Marx. Joseph Schumpeter is the exceptional economist who links the entrepreneur to innovation. Who is the author of The Principles of Political Economy and Taxation? David Ricardo. According to Professor Dennis Gouletz, the three core values of development are life sustenance, self-esteem and freedom. Underdeveloped countries are slums of the world economy is a statement given by Kane Crows. Malthusian theory of population explored the relationship between food supply and population growth. Who said supply creates its own demand? B.J.B. Shaw. Who stated bad money drives good money out of circulation when both of them are full legal tender? Thomas Gresham. The innovation theory of profit was proposed by C. Schumpeter. who stated that trade cycle is purely a monetary phenomenon. Hotry. As per the Lakrawala formula, which among the following is accepted to estimate urban poverty? Consumer Price Index for Industrial Labors. In which year did the United Nations set the principles for the rights and protection of the consumer? 1985. Decision taken at Bretton Woods Conference led to the formation of IMF. The International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, IBRD, is better known as World Bank. Where is the headquarters of Asian Development Bank, ADB, situated? Manila, Philippines. The modern or neo-Keynesian theory of interest owes its development largely to the efforts of J.R. Hicks. Who was the first Indian economist to win Nobel Prize? Amartya Sen. 1998. Who wrote the book Employment, Technology and Development? Amartya Sen. Which Indian shared Nobel Prize in 2019 with Esther Duflo and Michael Kramer for economics? Abhijit Banerjee. Indian economy is a mixed economy. Mixed economy means an economy where there is coexistence of public sector along with private sector. An economy which does not have any relation with the rest of the world is known as closed economy. A philosophy that the worker should share in industrial decisions is termed as industrial democracy. The main objective of first five-year plan was development of agriculture including irrigation and power projects. India's first five-year plan was based on Harrod-Domer model. Who was the first Deputy Chairman of Planning Commission of India? V.T. Krishnamachari. Who was the first to recommend the adoption of an expenditure tax for India? N. Kaldor. The idea of democratic decentralization in India was popularized by Ashok Mehta Committee, 1978. In public budgets, zero-based budgeting was first introduced in USA. Takeoff stage in an economy means steady growth begins. Break-even point is a situation where there is no profit, no loss. When and by whom first income tax was introduced in India? In 1860 by James Wilson. The study of determining the prices in individual markets is called microeconomics. Which organization in India publishes the Consumer Confidence Index? RBI. Economic survey is published by Ministry of Finance. Financial markets are classified into money market and capital market. When expenditure exceeds total tax revenue, it is called deficit budget. Government taxing and spending policies are called fiscal policy. What is a fiscal deficit? It is a gap between total expenditure and total receipts of the government. Income tax is based on the principle of ability to pay. If the economy is in an inflationary period, what action would fiscal policy most likely take? Increase taxes. Printing of new currency notes and RBI borrowings by government is called deficit financing. A tax that takes away a higher proportion of one's income as the income rises is termed as a progressive tax. To bring equitable distribution of income in the country, taxes should be progressive. Human Development Index is based on longevity, knowledge and income. Which was the Indian state which was the first to release state-level human development report in 1995? Madhya Pradesh. When was the concept of the Human Development Index, HDI, introduced by the United Nations Development Programme? 1990. How can we find out if we are properly nourished? Body Mass Index. The first attempt to initiate economic planning in India was made by M. Visvesvaraya. Who wrote the book Planned Economy for India? M. Visvesvaraya. Dadabhai Nauroji theorized on the drain of wealth from India in his book, Poverty and Un-British Rule in India. Who was the author of the chapter on objectives of planned development for the third five-year plan? Morarji Desai. The strategy of rolling plan was adopted during the prime ministership of Morarji Desai. The steel plants at Durgapur, Bhilai and Rourkela were established during the period of second five-year plan. In India, the concepts of minimum needs and directed anti-poverty programs were the innovations of fifth five-year plan. Which five-year plan was suspended 1 year before its time schedule? Fifth five-year plan. In which plan was the target of deficit finance taken as zero? Ninth plan. Unemployment which occurs when workers move from one job to another job is known as frictional unemployment. Which committee's recommendations are being followed for estimating poverty line in India? Lakrawala Committee. The Food for Work program was renamed as National Rural Employment Program. The period of high inflation and low economic growth is termed as stagflation. When prices are rising, one of the ways of bringing about reduction in prices would be to increase the availability of goods. The law of diminishing returns applies to production. When was decimal coinage introduced in India? 1957. What is the animal on the insignia of the RBI? Panther. When was the Reserve Bank of India taken over by the government? 1948. What are gilt-edged securities? Securities issued by the government. What are open market operations? Selling of gilt-edged securities by the government. Through open market operations, RBI plays a very important role in which market? Gilt-edged market.
Thanks for watching Speed GK YouTube channel. Please support our YouTube channel, kindly subscribe and also please share this video with your friends. Thank you.